Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen clearly. So firstly, thank you so much to everyone for participating today and taking time out of your busy schedules to join today. So today's webinar will be about the Migrant Women's Counter Human Trafficking Alliance here at FCJ Refugee Center. Just a quick introduction about myself. My name is Isabella Aldib, and I am the Anti-Human Trafficking Women's Coordinator here at FCJ. So I will be the one leading this specific project and this newer initiative here at FCJ. So if we just wanted to take a moment, because I do want to get to know everyone here, if everyone feels comfortable just unmuting themselves for a quick moment just to say hi and maybe introduce yourself. So if anyone would like to go.
Hi, my name is Naziha. I am the Anti-Human Trafficking Counselor and Mental Health Counselor at the Canadian Center for Victims of Torture.
Thank you, Naziha. Nice to meet you.
I can go. Can you hear me? Hi, I'm Shadi. I'm the Anti-Human Trafficking Migrant Caseworker at FCJ Refugee Center.
Thank you, Shadi. I know someone raised their hand.
Yes,
I think
yes.
yes.
I'm Sarada from the Excellence Center, and I'm working with the violence prevention team, working with the abuse women, parenting, and the immigrants are free.
Okay, that's great. It's nice to meet you. Thank you. So I think, Deanna, did you have your hand up?
Yes, good morning. My name is Diana Moran. I am from Working Woman Community Center.
Thank you, Deanna. Anyone else? Just making sure I keep track of everything.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm a social worker at North York General Hospital.
Nice to meet you, Alex. Thank you for joining.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole, and I am the Human Trafficking Crisis Intervention Counselor for Victim Services of Waterloo and Wellington.
Great. Thank you so much for joining. Let me see. A few people, their audio is not working, so I will.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bronwyn, and I'm a job developer at JVS.
Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, everyone. My name is Giovanna, and I am a anti-human trafficking youth worker at FCJ Refugee Center.
Thank you, Giovanna.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, this is Margaret Mosu. I am a program coordinator with Rexter Women's Center for the Violence Prevention Program.
Great. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Elisa. I'm the Primary Care Clinic Coordinator here at FCJ Refugee Center.
Thanks so much, Elisa.
Good morning. My name is Monica. I am from the Jane Finch Community Family Center settlement worker.
Everybody, sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Leah. I work at OCASI, the Ontario Council of Agencies Serving Immigrants.
Thanks so much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dalma, and I am a settlement worker with Loose Community Services in London.
Thank you so much for joining. I know we have some in the chat that also introduce themselves. I hope that everyone can see some of the introductions as well. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And it's really great to meet everyone. I hope to continue meeting everyone throughout the course of this project as well. So this is just the beginning for introductions. So we can get started here. Okay. So I just wanted to present our agenda for today. So firstly, I'm going to talk a little bit more broadly about FCJ Refugee Center and the services and programs we have here. Then I will go more specifically into the anti-human trafficking program. And then I will provide some context on the situation faced by migrant women, which will then lead us into the actual project, which is the Migrant Women's Counter Human Trafficking Alliance. Then I will provide some updates on the needs the project will address, as well as discuss some of the key project activities and sub-activities. And then near the end, I will also provide my contact information and introduce a little bit more of my team. And then we will also have a question and answer period. So that's where you can ask any questions you have throughout the presentation, and as well discuss any important facts that you wanted to discuss. So we can get started. So a little bit about FCJ Refugee Center. We are a nonprofit organization that serves uprooted people in rebuilding their lives in Canadian society. So we are case-centered with a collaborative and holistic approach in the ways that we apply a gendered and anti-oppressive framework. So this is a brief overview of the different programs and services that we have to offer at FCJ Refugee Center. So we have 4 key areas. The first one is immigration aid and refugee protection. So with that, we have immigration and refugee orientation. Just gonna mute. Sorry, I'm just going to mute someone. So we have different areas within that, such as the refugee processes, PRRA applications, refugee appeal, H&C sponsorships. So that's a brief overview of what we do in that area. Then we also have settlement and integration. So with that, we have transitional shelters for women and children. So we currently have 3. We have housing support, women's programs, food distribution programs, virtual community cooking classes, English and conversation. And we also have the primary care and mental health clinic, which Elisa, who is here today, is actually leading that, and also our youth program. Then we also have the anti-human trafficking program. So we provide direct services to trafficked persons, and we support migrant workers through our Migrant Workers Mobile program. Then we also have public education and networking. So we have webinars, training sessions. We also have our Borderless Voices podcast, YouTube videos, resources such as presentations and documents, as well as research, season newsletters, and annual reports. So more specifically into the anti-human trafficking program. So FCJ Refugee Center offers direct services to people who have been trafficked. So that includes sex trafficking and labor exploitation. So what we do in this area is we really take a holistic approach when walking with survivors through legal processes, immigration procedures, settlement, and recovery. So I included this quote because this really encompasses what we do in this program. So the path out of human trafficking may take time, but we ensure that we walk with people the whole way. So that's where we really take a holistic approach to provide wraparound services to survivors and victims of sex trafficking, as well as labor exploitation. So this is our specific work in human trafficking. So we founded the Toronto Counter Human Trafficking Network, the TCHTN. We are also a member of the Canadian Council for Refugees Steering Committee Against Human Trafficking. And within our specific program, we have 3 key projects that we work on. So the first one is the Migrant Workers Mobile program. The second is the Migrant Women's Counter Human Trafficking Alliance, which is what we will be talking about today. And then we also have the Youth Alliance Against Human Trafficking. So just to provide a little bit of context on the situation, I just wanted to kind of outline why this project kind of came to be and why it's really needed. So in the Canadian context, international cases of labor trafficking, especially amongst vulnerable migrant women, is the least identified form of exploitation in the anti-human trafficking sector. So just some factors in the perpetuation of this issue. One of the biggest things is that there is a lack of of information about the specific barriers that migrant women face. Secondly, precarious migrant women, especially younger women, are more vulnerable to predatory practices due to their marginalization. Then there is also the feminization of migration and exploitation within the Canadian context of human trafficking. So we see this more in sectors of hospitality, cleaning services, and other personal service industries where migrant women are highly employed and exploited. So these are kind of just some key points to the barriers faced by migrant women. So first is a lack of knowledge about their labor rights. And secondly is immigration policies are really contributing risk factors to increase the vulnerability of migrant workers that makes them more susceptible to facing exploitation and human trafficking. So our proposed solution is a provision of tools to prevent situations of exploitation and trafficking where migrant populations and assist those already experiencing conditions of human trafficking and labor exploitation. So this is kind of a two-part solution to a prevention piece as well as assisting and supporting survivors. So in terms of there's a lot of gaps in services and statistics in this area. So in terms of gaps in statistics, there's a lot of lack of data. So we really need to collect data directly from the community to contextualize the situation and the vulnerabilities of population living in precarious status, as well as a gap in service. So what we really need to do is there is a need for a best practices report led specifically by women with lived experience to provide multilingual information. So not just in English and French, but also all languages that are available to these women and make sure that they're from a reliable source that they can also trust as well. So now more specifically into the project itself. So as I mentioned, the project is the Migrant Women's Counter Human Trafficking Alliance. So in terms of the description, it is a regional project. So in the GTA, all of Ontario, and our target group is women aged 25 to 64. So in terms of the objectives, so this project will enhance the capacity and knowledge regarding the specific barriers and challenges presented in international cases where women have been victimized and marginalized by human trafficking. So we will approach women through a peer-led model to provide them with holistic information and access to wraparound services and supports. Within the project, we also take a survivor-informed approach. So with a focus on international cases and through our cultivated survivor-informed approach developed for almost 30 years, we will support the intersecting identities which add to the conditions of vulnerability to human trafficking. So we do acknowledge the intersectionality of identities that migrant women experience, including language and cultural barriers, financial insecurity, migration status, histories of violence and trauma, as well as gender and sexual identity. So these are the three needs that this project will address. So firstly, empowerment supports for survivors with complex and intersecting forms of trauma. Secondly, improved empowerment supports for underserved population. And lastly, also prevention initiatives for at-risk women as well as youth. So these are kind of a bit of the key project activities. So in the project, we're aiming to achieve the following. So we aim to achieve outreach, develop a women's steering committee, host capacity building sessions across the GTA and Ontario, community building and women's connection seminars, collect anecdotal, quantitative and qualitative data, initiate an increased geographic span case management practices, and develop a best practices report. So now going more specifically into the project sub-activities. So the first one is outreach. So we aim to connect with partner and collaborate organizations. So we are collaborating with 6 organizations currently in the project. So this includes OCASI, Aura Freedom, Barbara Schleifer, just to name a few, but we are always looking to collaborate with different organizations and work together in this project. There's also the development of a women's steering committee. So we are connecting with a community of women with lived experience to form a steering committee. So this, the reasoning behind this is that we really want to inform and the development and the implementation of the project, as well as determine the best practices for interacting with and supporting our participants, and supporting the appropriate development of the best practices report. So currently in the project, we are connected with 7 women of lived experience, and we meet with them approximately once a month. So in terms of the next set of project sub-activities, this also includes hosting capacity building sessions across the GTA and Ontario. So the sessions will be delivered in 2 main streams. One is for survivors of human trafficking, and 2 is for frontline workers and service delivery partners. So what we're really aiming to do is to connect specifically with sectors which we see high volumes of cases of labor exploitation. So that includes the hospitality industry, cleaning services, factory workers, and hotels. And we also aim to connect with respective unions and host sessions on site for these vulnerable workers. We're also hoping to connect with other networks in the GTA, including York, Peel, and Durham. Another set of activities within this project is the community building and women's connection seminars. So through a gendered lens, we aim to host sessions for community building and social connection. So we will host sessions for women who are survivors, as well as at risk of human trafficking through labor and sexual exploitation. We will continue with peer-led community building and engagement discussions on key issues pertaining to international cases of women victims of human and labor trafficking to ensure increased vulnerabilities are addressed and opportunities for resilience and healing are provided. So this is a flyer we have here for these seminars. Please feel free to share it. It is also on our website. But if you do want a little bit more information about these group sessions that will be starting in October, feel free to contact me, and we can also set up a meeting to discuss more specifically about the seminars. So just some benefits of joining this alliance for women, or joining the weekly sessions. So the goal of our sessions is for participants to engage in a community building and social connection. So sessions will provide a safe space and tight-knit community for migrant women, which will allow the opportunity to form friendships, encourage healing, build awareness, and promote resilience. The sessions will be in small groups, so probably within 5 to 10 per group, most likely 5, and split into 2 separate groups. And it will also include a number of planned workshops, such as utilizing art therapy to deal with anxiety, self-care tips, how to protect your mental well-being, and group therapy sessions. So what makes this specific alliance unique? Because there are a lot of different groups to join, or support groups. Specifically, this group is peer-led, and also members are the leaders of the project. So we really want the members to be leading the sessions, to tell us what exactly they feel that will be helpful to have in these sessions. If they themselves want to lead a session, then we also are very open to that. So what we really aim within this is that we want these strong and brave women to be provided with the adequate training, support, and self-care procedures. So we want to provide them with the tools that they can use not only for themselves, but they can then become leaders and are able to support others in their community. So going more into the sub-activities, we also aim to collect anecdotal, quantitative, and qualitative data. So through peer-led sessions, collect anecdotal evidence of lived experiences of women and their involvement in predatory and exploitative practices. collect initial quantitative data, report on the number of international cases of women victims and survivors of human trafficking. So the demographic of women will provide a global perspective with the data from international cases that we collect. We also aim to initiate increased geographic span case management practices, so provide direct services to women who are at risk, as well as victims and survivors of human trafficking. So with that, we will determine on a case-by-case basis necessary additional services, including medical and mental health support, food security, clothing banks, housing security, immigration process supports, etc. So this is near the end of our project, but we hope to develop a best practices report. So this would be the development of a report outlining the best practices for service delivery and supporting skill development. So the report will be available online and on social media platforms, and it will be created in an accessible format, hopefully multilingual as well. And this will be created by and for women with lived experience. So just to end off my small presentation, here is my contact information. I can also put it in the chat below afterwards. And this is also the rest of the team that I am working with. So I also wanted to just give an opportunity here now for the rest of the team just to introduce themselves if they would like to go ahead.
Oh, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria. So I am the anti-human trafficking youth worker here at FCJ. So basically what I do right now, what I'm doing is I'm coordinating activities and workshops for the youth network that we have here at FCJ. Just to give a little bit of a background so then you know what the youth network is all about. So it's just a positive and inclusive space that we have here at FCJ to welcome migrant and newcomer youth from anywhere around the world. We actually do have an information webinar coming up on Monday, October 18th. It's going to be from 3:30 to 4:30. So if anyone here knows anyone that might be interested in joining, or if you want to know more information about the youth network, I will put the Zoom registration link in the chat. Also, I believe Isabella had my email there on the in the PowerPoint, but I can put my email in the chat box as well if you have any more questions about that.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I know also, I think Shadi is also here if she would like to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. So I'm the anti-human trafficking migrant caseworker here at FCJ. And what we do is we help international cases of migrant labor, people who have been or who have already experienced exploitation through labor trafficking or are at risk of being exploited in that way. We help them with their status. And with the immigration programs that are available to them for them to get either temporary or permanent status. That's what our role is. And we work a lot with people who are from the Caribbean or Latin America, but also they can be from other places.
Oh, thank you so much, Shadi. Giovanna, did you want to go next and just do a quick introduction?
Yeah, so my name is Giovanna. I am also a anti-human trafficking youth worker at FCJ, and I am coordinating the Youth Alliance Against Human Trafficking project. This is a regional project. We aim to give wraparound supports for youth who are either have lived experiences at risk or are in conditions of human trafficking. Our target age is 14 to 25 years old. And the project has a few components to it, one being a steering committee, which we are inviting any youth to join and be part of this committee and help steer this project and shape what kind of webinars we're going to be giving to youth, and like what they would like to see this project provide for youth. So if you do have any youth that you think would love to be part of this project, I would love to hear from you and the youth. I can put my email in the chat, and we can connect a little bit more, and I can talk a little bit more in detail about what the project is.
Thanks so much, Giovanna. I just wanted to give the opportunity to also meet the rest of the team, the anti-human trafficking team, because we do a lot of work in collaboration. So it's nice for everyone to just meet them as well. And if you work specifically in different areas, feel free to reach out to them directly, or you can reach out to me as well, and I can pass along the information. So now we can open up the discussion, and if anyone has any questions, I see some hands have been raised. Please feel free to raise your hand and unmute yourself. So I think Tahira would like to say something. Go ahead, Tahira. I think Tahira, you're mute. You might have to unmute yourself.
Hi. It's nice to hear from you because sometimes we have some, you know, where to go. Means applied for you have an legal status.
Wait, Tahira, could you, sorry, I missed the first part. Could you repeat? There was just like a little bit of background noise. Thank you.
In fact, we do have the clients who are without status and they are coming to our center. At the time, I didn't know where to send them, for example, for their residence or now I'm pleased to hear that you have a transitional shelter or housing stabilization program that they can stay there for some time until they get some job or they get some status. Thank you very much for giving us the information.
Yeah, no problem. If there is anything more specifically that you would like to talk about with some of your clients, I'm happy that we can set up like a conversation and we can see how FCJ can also support them as well.
Yes, I have noted down your number and I'm happy to refer them to you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Tahira.
Okay.
I think someone else had their hand up, but I don't see.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Isabella. I'm Patricia Marshall. And thank you so much for this webinar and for all the work that you're doing. I'm wondering on your intake forms if you're including collecting data about women's experiences of torture in the trafficking. And maybe I should give some background. I'm asking that because torture by non-state actors, there's no law against it right currently in Canada. And it's one of the most invisible forms of gender-based violence that there is. It is very specifically gender-based in the majority of instances. And in the work that I've done over decades, it is it has huge parallels with the torture in a prisoner of war camp. And as I've talked to hundreds of survivors of trafficking and production of pornography and all the various forms, this is an experience. It's just not been made visible. And one of the ways that we can do it is for shelter intake advocacy organizations who are working with the women if they collect that data. In London, Ontario, the Women's Center there is actually been collecting it for a number of years, and it would be so helpful as some of us are trying to get that law in place. And we've failed so far because the Department of Justice lawyers haven't had enough training in what this is. So they've told the legislative committees that it's, oh yeah, these acts can be squeezed into all the other laws that are existing. And in fact, the intentionality to harm is very much a part of this, and it needs its own law before we can really respond. And right now, the abusers and the torturers are acting with impunity in so many instances. But it's programs like yours that will make a difference. But I just urge you and the other organizations that are on to consider including this in your intake form as a specific. We all know from I've done so much work on gender-based violence, and we know that listening to women, that's where we get the reality, and that's where we get the change from their voices, their experiences, and this is a part of it. So thank you so much. Have you could you do that?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting and really important that you raise that we also look into the torture component. It is something that I'm interested in incorporating in this project. So if you would be willing, like maybe we can set up a conversation and maybe that's something that we can kind of work on together, but it is something I'm definitely interested in.
Okay, I will try to do that. After 50 years of work in this area, I've got limited time now, but I really, and I am working on a number of things, but I'd really like to help you with this if that could be a model, and put you in touch also with some other resources. So thank you, Isabella, and to everyone on the call. Strength to you all in this great work.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patricia. We can definitely connect on that. And I think it is important that we hear from different organizations because it points to different aspects that we might be missing in our own project. So it's really nice to connect with everyone and see what we can kind of add into this project to strengthen it. So thank you so much. Let me see. I don't know if anyone else I think someone else had their hand up, but please feel free to unmute yourself.
Naziha, I don't know, I did put my hand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hi. That is a wonderful presentation, I should say, Isabel. That was wonderful. And I am new in this field at the Canadian Center for Victims of Torture, which we do also provide settlement services to trafficked women, and mainly they're trafficked women and girls so far, but also few numbers of men. And I understand that this is it's happening in Canada, and it is happening in a very bad way. And it's a very heinous act on humans. And I'll be more than glad to collaborate and work together to end this. I would be more than happy to work with Tahira. We provide similar services with settlement. We have psychiatrists and psychotherapists and lawyers who deal with those clients and make their journey easy. So I can leave my email address, and I will for sure communicate with you and contact you for future to work together.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much, Nazia.
Thank you.
Yeah, and definitely if, because we are starting, as I mentioned, we are starting in this project a few seminars within this month. So we are really looking for other organizations that would be willing to collaborate on some seminars. So for example, we are also setting up a art therapy workshop for the women participants. So we are looking for art therapists, also different ideas that you might have for different seminars that you think would be useful for the women in the group. It would be nice if you would like to connect as well, and we can go through different ideas. And also we at FCJ, we love collaborating with different organizations. So we're also open to working with your organizations as well.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna just put my email address on the chat box. I don't know if Tahira can hear me, so you can get it and check it. And, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, please feel free to leave your email address in the chat box, and then we can follow up. Not sure if anyone else had a question or comment. Even just in general, it would be nice as well to hear what other people are working on in their organizations and how it could possibly relate or like areas that we can collaborate.
Isabella, I just have a question.
Sure.
Are you going to be sharing this presentation?
Yeah, so this presentation, we are recording it right now, so it will be available on the FCJ website, as well as the presentation, like the PowerPoint slides will also be on the website as well. So if anyone wants to just like refresh on the project, then they can also just go directly to the website. Anyone else have some more comments about the project or even just like feedback? It would be nice to hear that as well.
Isabella, is this like a project? Is it like a research? Is it going to be like published data? Because you said you're collecting quantitative and qualitative data. Is this going to be like published or
Yeah, so we
in
are,
a journal or something like that?
yeah, we're still kind of working towards how we want to publish the data, but it is, I think, ultimately our end goal to also publish the data. And as well as the, as I mentioned in the PowerPoint, like the best practices report. So that's what we're going to be working on throughout the course of the project. So that will be something that will be published.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
No problem.
See, any other questions or feedback? Sarah? Oh, Carolina.
Yes, Isabella. I just wanted to let everyone know that the presentation is already available online. I put the link on the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Carolina. And I hope everyone also has my contact information as well. So feel free to reach out to me if any questions come up during the time, or if you just want to set up a meeting to discuss different aspects of the project, feel free to email me. But just one last, if there's not any other questions, I'm just double checking the chat as well, because I know some people might have had difficulties. Okay. So if there aren't any other questions, I think we can just end the webinar there. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. I'm really grateful for your time and also your interest in the project. It's really great to be with such a great group from various different organizations. And I'm really looking forward to continuously working with all of you and maybe setting up some more formal introductions. So thank you so much, everyone. It was really great to meet you all today, and I hope you learned a little bit more about our project here.
Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna.
Thanks, Isabella.
Thanks, Shadi.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.